Hi warriors, welcome back to the channel of Learning Philosophy. You're not poor because you're not working hard. You're poor because the game was designed to keep you predictable, exhausted, and blind to the levers the rich quietly pull behind the curtain. In the next few minutes, you will learn the 6 Machiavellian mechanisms the rich use to stay rich, and how to break every one of them. If you want to escape the financial cage built around you, pay attention. In Machiavelli's world, wealth is not money. It is control, leverage, and the ability to bend reality without asking permission. The rich don't simply have more. They operate by a different rule book, one that rewards those who understand power psychology, not effort. This video exposes 6 ruthless but accurate truths the rich follow to maintain dominance across generations, and gives you the counter-strategies to break the cycle. By the end, you won't see money, you'll see the mechanics of power. Here is the harsh truth the rich understand from day one: money does not reward effort, it rewards multiplication. And the moment you rely only on your own hands, your own hours, your own sweat, you sentence yourself to a lifetime of financial exhaustion. This is why the wealthy do not chase paychecks. They chase leverage. They chase structures that keep earning even when they sleep, travel, or disappear entirely from the scene. They know that if income depends on their presence, then their entire life becomes a cage disguised as work ethic. This is the paradox: the harder you work without leverage, the more replaceable you become. The rich stay rich because they master the game of building systems, not routines. In the Machiavellian world, control is the defining currency. And there is no greater control than the ability to earn without showing up. That single principle separates rulers from servants. Machiavelli would say that a prince who relies only on his own sword will lose to the one who commands an army. This applies to money just as ruthlessly. The rich command armies of assets, tools, algorithms, audiences, employees, intellectual property, distribution channels. Their wealth expands through the work of many, while the masses shrink under the work of one. This is why 2 people can work the same number of hours, yet one creates a dynasty and the other barely survives. The rich have leverage, everyone else has labor. But the real genius of the rich lies in the fact that they never present leverage as leverage. They hide it behind words like opportunity, partnership, or smart investment. Meanwhile, the average person is conditioned to believe that hard work is the moral path. But morality does not matter in economic warfare. What matters is the structure of your income. If it can grow without you, you rise. If it collapses when you stop, you fall. Simple, brutal, true. And the rich aren't apologizing for it. They understand that wealth is a game of architecture, not effort. The invisible machines they create, businesses, digital assets, intellectual property, capital investments, do the heavy lifting while they stay focused on strategy. Here is where the shift begins for you. Breaking the cycle does not require millions. It requires refusing to be dependent on one income source that consumes your life. You start by building just one mechanism that earns independently. It could be a piece of content that pays over time. It could be a skill you package into a product. It could be a service you automate. It could be investments that quietly grow. The form does not matter. The function does. You create something that keeps moving even when you don't. The moment you do that, you stop being a laborer in the system and start becoming a player. And the psychological shift is even more important than the financial one. When you start earning from leverage, you begin to think like someone who commands resources instead of obeying them. Your decisions become colder, clearer, more strategic. You stop trading hours for survival and start trading strategy for expansion. And this shift changes everything. It changes how you approach money, how you value your time, how you make decisions about risk, and how you view your own potential. The rich are not superhuman. They are simply unwilling to earn in linear ways. They refuse to allow their life to be dictated by a clock or a paycheck. They choose leverage over labor. They choose strategy over struggle. And once you adopt this mindset, your path begins to separate from the masses, quietly but powerfully, just like theirs did. The next truth: The rich exploit ruthlessly is simple, yet most people never see it. Information is power, and scarcity of knowledge is the quiet lever that keeps the majority under control. The rich don't stumble upon opportunities by accident. They don't rely on luck, intuition, or hope. They operate in a world where knowledge is not shared freely. It is tiered, locked behind networks, mentorships, and financial barriers. They pay to know what others cannot access, to see what others cannot see, to act before anyone else can react. This is the information firewall, a system of selective insight that separates the powerful from the powerless. In Machiavelli's terms, to control the battlefield, you must first control the map. The rich control the financial and social maps of the world by hoarding information before it becomes common knowledge. They hire experts, they buy insights, they invest in intelligence. They understand that if you allow your decisions to be made on the same information as everyone else, you will always be one step behind, always reacting instead of leading. The poor absorb news after the fact. They follow trends, they copy moves. The rich anticipate, and anticipation is a weapon that cannot be defended against. Most people think knowledge is free, or that effort alone will compensate for experience and expertise. This is a dangerous illusion. The moment you rely on trial and error learning in a system designed by and for the rich, you are a lab rat in a game where the house always wins. The rich don't experiment with their wealth, they purchase certainty. They pay to skip the mistakes, the setbacks, and the years of wasted energy. And this is exactly why breaking the cycle is not about working harder, it's about knowing better. To implement your own version of this firewall, you must first redefine how you value information. Stop treating knowledge as a casual resource and start treating it as a weapon. Every book, every course, every consultation, every data point that gives you insight into markets, power, or human behavior is an investment in armor and strategy. When the rich spend money on insights, they are not indulging curiosity, they are constructing barriers between themselves and the unpredictable chaos of uninformed decisions. They are engineering predictability into their wealth accumulation while the rest of the world gambles blindly. This does not mean you need access to insider trading or secrets that are illegal. It means understanding the hierarchy of knowledge and deliberately positioning yourself at the top. The rich read, they hire, they consult, they test silently, and they store what they learn in structured systems that allow them to act instantly while others are till wondering what to do. The moment you adopt this mindset, your decisions begin to carry the weight of foresight rather than guesswork. Your actions become calculated strikes rather than desperate flails. The information firewall also protects against manipulation. Most people are constantly influenced by what is loudest or most popular. The rich understand that the crowd is predictable and that influence is controllable if you choose the right inputs. By curating the flow of information into your life, you effectively control your mental environment, making your decisions sharper, faster, and less susceptible to panic or hype. Knowledge becomes a shield, a sword, and a compass all at once. Ultimately, the rich stay rich because they refuse to be blind in a world that punishes blindness. They buy foresight, they invest in understanding, and they construct invisible walls of insight that others cannot penetrate. And if you wish to step out of the cycle that keeps the majority trapped, you must learn to do the same. You must stop reacting, start anticipating, and weaponize your access to information so that every decision, every opportunity, every move becomes a calculated step ahead in a game most people don't even realize they are playing. The next hidden mechanism the rich exploit to stay ahead is both invisible and absolute information. While most people scramble to survive, reacting to events as they unfold, the wealthy operate in a realm where knowledge is power and timing is everything. They understand a cold, unforgiving truth. If you make decisions with the same information as everyone else, you will always be second. Being rich is not about working harder or hoping for luck. It is about knowing more, seeing farther, and acting faster than the competition. This is the essence of what I call the information firewall. It is a fortress of knowledge that shield the rich from uncertainty while leaving the unprepared exposed. In the Machiavellian world, foresight is control. The rich do not stumble upon opportunity, they engineer it through superior understanding. They pay to gain insights before the rest of the world catches up, and they build networks of intelligence that others cannot access. Experts, advisors, analysts, mentors, these are their spies and informants. They consume knowledge as if it were oxygen because, in reality, it is the very air they breathe to survive and dominate. While the average person reacts emotionally to headlines or trends, the rich anticipate, adapt, and act with calculated precision. And the key to this superiority is that it is deliberately exclusive. Knowledge is tiered, it is a weapon held by the few who understand its value. Most people believe knowledge is free or that hard work alone can compensate for inexperience. This is a dangerous fallacy. The moment you rely solely on trial and error to navigate a system designed by and for the wealthy, you are already behind. The rich do not experiment. They pay to reduce risk, they buy time, and they shortcut the mistakes that trap the majority. They acquire intelligence not for curiosity or prestige, but to maintain an unassailable advantage. They know exactly where to place their resources, how to maneuver in financial markets, and when to strike. Their decisions are rarely impulsive, they are precise, informed, and often invisible to those watching. To emulate this mindset, you must treat knowledge as a weapon rather than a luxury. Every book, every course, every mentor, every data insight is not an optional expense, it is armor and ammunition. The wealthy do not hoard information haphazardly, they structure it, systematize it, and act on it relentlessly. Information becomes a multiplier of power, allowing them to move strategically while the rest of the world stumbles blindly. The moment you start acquiring knowledge deliberately, your decisions begin to carry the weight of foresight. You start acting proactively instead of reactively, and that is the first step in breaking free from the cycle that keeps most people trapped. The information firewall also acts as a psychological shield. Most people are manipulated by the loudest voices or the most popular trends because they are constantly exposed to unfiltered, reactive information. The rich, however, curate their mental environment. They choose what enters their minds, filtering out distraction, hype, and noise, leaving only actionable intelligence. This allows them to remain calm, calculating, and strategic, even in chaos. The firewall is both defense and offense. It protects their decisions and magnifies their power. The wealthy stay rich because they refuse to be blind in a world that punishes blindness. They buy knowledge, structure it, and act on it, while others wait for opportunity to knock. They build invisible fortresses of insight that others cannot penetrate. And if you intend to break the cycle of financial servitude, you must learn to do the same. You must stop reacting, start anticipating, and weaponize your access to information so every decision, every move, and every opportunity becomes a deliberate step ahead of the masses who remain forever trapped in the shadows of ignorance. The next mechanism that keeps the rich in power while most struggle is one of the coldest truths in human behavior. Emotion is the leash that controls the masses. The wealthy understand that in a world dictated by opportunity, timing, and strategy, feelings are a dangerous liability. They know that panic, guilt, desire, and hope are invisible chains that trap people in mediocrity. If you want to escape the cycle of scarcity and rise to a level where power and wealth become inevitable, you must learn to detach yourself from your impulses and adopt what I call the emotional freeze rule. Machiavelli himself teaches that rulers must master appearances and control reactions because a leader ruled by passion is vulnerable to chaos. The same principle applies to wealth. The poor spend impulsively when they feel fear, they sell assets when markets fluctuate, they chase trends when envy drives them, and they remain trapped by the emotional narratives of their environment. The rich, by contrast, remove emotion from their decisions entirely. They do not panic when the market dips. They do not crave immediate validation. They do not allow fear or desire to dictate their financial trajectory. Their decisions are calculated, cold, and executed according to predetermined rules, not fleeting feelings. This is not a call to become robotic or disconnected from life. It is a strategic discipline. Wealth is not won by generosity of feeling or moral indulgence. It is won by clarity of thought and precision of action. The rich understand that every emotional reaction carries a cost. Every hesitation, every excitement, every guilt-induced choice is a tax on your potential. By neutralizing emotion, they turn obstacles into predictable variables and turn uncertainty into opportunity. They operate with a mindset of analysis rather than impulse, of calculation rather than hope. Theirs is a battlefield where feelings are irrelevant and strategy is absolute. To apply the emotional freeze rule, you must begin by recognizing the invisible influence emotion has over your decisions. Notice how fear pushes you to sell, how envy tempts you to overspend, how desire leads you to chase trends or the approval of others. These are the traps designed to keep you reactive, to keep you small, to keep you obedient to circumstances outside your control. The rich circumvent these traps entirely. They create rules for their behavior, rules for spending, investing, networking, and opportunity evaluation. Once the rules are in place, emotion becomes irrelevant. Their financial and strategic decisions follow the path of maximum leverage and minimum risk, regardless of how their feelings fluctuate. Furthermore, emotional control extends beyond personal finance. It governs influence, negotiation, and human interaction. When you are calm while others panic, you gain the advantage of clarity. When you are deliberate while others react impulsively, you gain the advantage of foresight. The rich know that power accumulates not from effort alone, but from consistently superior decision-making, and superior decision-making requires freedom from emotional interference. Every calculated move you make, without letting fear, desire, or guilt dictate your actions, positions you steps ahead of the crowd. Breaking free from the cycle of financial servitude demands this discipline. You cannot remain tethered to momentary emotions if you hope to build wealth that lasts. You must train yourself to act according to strategy, not sensation, to follow systems and rules over instinct, and to allow patience, logic, and foresight to replace panic, longing, and hope. The emotional freeze rule is the secret armor the rich wear invisibly, the silent force that allows them to navigate risk without hesitation, opportunity without doubt, and human behavior without being manipulated. Master this, and you begin to operate in a dimension where emotion no longer dictates your fate, but strategy does. The next mechanism the rich exploit is deceptively simple, yet ruthlessly effective. Their network is both a weapon and a fortress. The wealthy do not surround themselves with just anyone. They cultivate a closed ecosystem of talent, opportunity, and influence that amplifies their power while shutting out the unworthy. I call this the network obsidian gate because, like volcanic glass, it is sharp, impenetrable, and selectively permeable. It filters who enters and who is denied, ensuring that every connection multiplies wealth and influence rather than drains it. To understand this, you must first see that access is everything. Opportunity does not knock. It is created, curated, and controlled by those who already have it. In Machiavellian philosophy, power is preserved by limiting access. A ruler who opens the gates to every supplicant risks losing control. The rich understand this principle intuitively. Their circles are designed to magnify success and insulate against incompetence. Inside their network, deals move faster, knowledge flows freely, and resources are leveraged efficiently. Outside, the doors are closed. This exclusivity is not arrogance, it is strategy. By controlling who touches their world, the rich ensure that every interaction serves growth, opportunity, or protection. In essence, their network becomes an extension of their wealth, a living system that reinforces their status while quietly maintaining boundaries. For most people, the opposite is true. They remain trapped in chaotic social webs where energy is drained by unproductive relationships, where influence is diffuse, and where opportunity is always fleeting. They try to network indiscriminately, hoping quantity will compensate for quality, and are consistently outmaneuvered by the few who operate with intention. The rich understand that being well-connected is not about popularity or likability. It is about strategic placement and reciprocal value. They maintain tight, high-quality connections, and they never waste energy on those who cannot contribute to or enhance their position. To break free from the cycle and enter the realm of the strategically powerful, you must think of networking as constructing a fortress, not a crowd. Every relationship should be evaluated for its capacity to elevate, protect, or open doors that were previously closed. You must identify the high-value players in your field and find ways to attach yourself to their orbit, whether by providing unique value, demonstrating rare skill, or creating leverage that aligns with their interests. At the same time, you must be willing to prune connections that drain your resources or slow your progress. This is not coldness, it is clarity. You cannot afford emotional attachment to relationships that compromise your trajectory. The network obsidian gate also functions as a multiplier of influence. Each strategic connection is a bridge to knowledge, capital, and opportunity that you cannot access alone. The rich exploit this principle relentlessly. They collaborate with other influential players, forming partnerships that multiply their wealth, amplify their decisions, and expand their reach exponentially. By operating in a closed but powerful ecosystem, they can make decisions faster, secure assets more efficiently, and move in markets before outsiders even see the pattern. This is why two individuals with equal intelligence and effort can experience completely different outcomes. One operates in isolation, the other commands the flow of opportunity through a curated network. Building your own network obsidian gate requires patience, selectivity, and precision. It requires understanding that not everyone deserves access to your time, skills, or ideas. It requires consciously designing your circles to protect your growth while positioning you at the intersection of opportunity and influence. The rich are not lucky, they are deliberate. They do not stumble upon success, they construct it through the architecture of relationships that serve them. And as you begin to adopt this principle, you realize that influence, opportunity, and wealth are not found. They are engineered, guarded, and multiplied through the power of a selectively curated network that only opens its gates to the strategic few. The fifth secret that separates the rich from everyone else is deceptively simple, yet most people never grasp it. Cash is fleeting, but assets are eternal. The wealthy do not measure success by the money in their pockets today. They measure it by the structures they have built that generate wealth long after they stop working. I call this principle the asset fortress, because assets are not just tools. They are loyal soldiers quietly compounding, defending, and multiplying your power while the world remains distracted by the illusion of income. Understanding this distinction is critical if you intend to break the cycle of financial mediocrity.
Machiavelli teaches that a ruler who depends on temporary advantages will be overthrown.
In the same way, a person who relies solely on cash flow tied to effort is constantly at the mercy of circumstance. Salaries, tips, commissions, and short-term gains can be snatched away at any moment, leaving those who depend on them vulnerable, reactive, and enslaved to uncertainty. The rich, however, convert their resources into assets immediately, transforming liquid money into permanent structures of wealth. They understand that cash is weak. It decays through taxes, inflation, and impulsive spending. But assets are soldiers. They work quietly, invisibly, and relentlessly on your behalf. Assets take many forms: real estate, equities, intellectual property, businesses, royalties, and scalable systems that produce income independent of your presence. The specific form is less important than the principle. Every unit of wealth you control must be converted into something that produces more wealth. The rich don't hoard money, they deploy it into mechanisms that appreciate, compound, or leverage other people's labor. Each asset is a fortress of value that shields them from volatility, amplifies opportunity, and ensures survival across generations. Most people, by contrast, live in the illusion that money itself is power. They spend before they save, consume before they invest, and react to income rather than strategically positioning it. This behavior ensures that wealth never accumulates and vulnerability grows. The rich operate on the opposite principle. Every dollar entering their system is immediately assessed. Can this be converted into an asset that strengthens my position? If the answer is yes, it is deployed. If not, it is either restructured or discarded. This disciplined approach to resource allocation is what allows the wealthy to remain ahead of the curve, while the majority remains trapped in reactive cycles of scarcity. To implement your own asset fortress, you must start with a mindset shift. Wealth is not what you earn, it is what you control and compound. Every decision should prioritize long-term value over short-term gratification. You must train yourself to see beyond immediate rewards and focus on the structures that will continue producing regardless of your personal effort. Cash is the raw material. Assets are the weapons and the walls that guard your future. By consistently converting liquid resources into stable, productive assets, you create a financial ecosystem that grows autonomously, shields you from external shocks, and multiplies your influence. Furthermore, the asset fortress is not just defensive, it is offensive. Assets allow the rich to take opportunities that others cannot. They provide the freedom to invest when the market is low, to acquire businesses when competitors are cash-strapped, and to influence decisions through capital that I strategically positioned. Each asset strengthens the network, the leverage, and the foresight that compound into more power. The rich are not wealthy because they work harder. They are wealthy because they understand the difference between money that moves and money that builds fortresses, and they act with relentless discipline to ensure that every resource reinforces their position. Building your own asset fortress requires patience, vision, and unwavering discipline. You must adopt the mindset of the ruler who plans not for today, but for decades ahead. Every dollar saved, every investment made, every intellectual property created is a soldier placed in your fortress. The rich do not gamble with their future. They construct structures that enforce growth, resilience, and security. And as you begin to see money not as wealth itself, but as a tool to build your fortress, you start to move in a dimension where power is not borrowed from circumstance, but commanded through design and strategic control. The final mechanism that secures the wealth of the powerful, while the majority remains trapped, is the ruthless foresight of planning beyond a single lifetime. I call this principle the generational blueprint, because the rich do not simply think in weeks, months, or even years. They plan for decades, designing structures that will preserve and multiply their influence long after they are gone. Most people are trapped in a survival mindset, obsessed with the next paycheck or the immediate crisis. The wealthy, however, operate on a timeline so extended that their actions today are only the first moves in a sequence that will span generations. This long-term vision is what separates the transient from the permanent, the reactive from the strategic, the servile from the sovereign. Machiavelli understood that power is fragile when it relies on a single individual. A ruler who does not plan for succession risks collapse, revolt, and extinction. The same principle applies to wealth. The rich do not leave their fortune exposed to chance, mismanagement, or misfortune. They create systems, legal structures, trusts, estates, and business hierarchies designed to survive them, to expand in their absence, and to multiply influence across generations. They understand that temporary gains are meaningless if they cannot be sustained, and they are meticulous in designing mechanisms that enforce continuity, stability, and exponential growth. Most people never achieve this because they live for immediate gratification, consumed by the pressures of survival and short-term desires. They think a bonus, a raise, or a small investment is enough. The rich know that small victories are meaningless without a framework to leverage them. They build legacies, not just fortunes. Every financial decision, every relationship cultivated, every asset acquired is evaluated not only for its current utility, but for how it will function in the long arc of time. They think strategically about taxes, succession planning, reinvestment, and market cycles decades ahead, ensuring that every choice strengthens a structure designed to outlast them. To adopt a generational blueprint, you must first expand your timeline. Stop thinking in days and months and start thinking in decades. Identify one scalable skill, one recurring income stream, one asset that can compound, and one relationship or network that can be leveraged over time. Then design a system where these elements reinforce each other automatically, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem. The key is not merely to accumulate wealth, but to engineer durability so that the progress you make today survives mistakes, fluctuations, and external shocks. Every decision must be strategic, every action deliberate, every resource positioned to endure and expand. The rich also understand that legacy is inseparable from influence. By planning across generations, they ensure that power, authority, and opportunity remain within their sphere. A family business, a trust, a portfolio of assets, they are all instruments that extend influence far beyond the individual. They are designed to teach, enforce, and multiply the behaviors that generate wealth and power, creating an environment where the next generation begins not at the bottom, but several steps ahead. This long-term perspective allows them to weather crises with ease, seize opportunities unnoticed by others, and maintain dominance while the unprepared scramble blindly. Creating your own generational blueprint requires vision, discipline, and patience. It demands that you resist the temptation of immediate consumption, that you prioritize structures over shortcuts, and that you think in decades rather than days. You must construct systems that will grow independently, survive volatility, and outlast your personal effort. Each asset you build, every skill you develop, every network you cultivate should be evaluated not only for its immediate utility, but for its potential to contribute to a continuum of growth and power. The rich are not merely wealthy, they are architects of enduring influence, and the sooner you adopt this mindset, the sooner you begin to operate in a dimension where financial security, strategic advantage, and legacy are no longer uncertain but inevitable. You now understand the 6 hidden mechanisms the rich use: the leverage paradox, the information firewall, the emotional freeze rule, the network obsidian gate, the asset fortress, the generational blueprint. These are not theories. They are the operating codes of people who refuse to live on their knees. Now it's your turn. Claim your sovereignty. Build your leverage. Break the cycle. And if you're ready for the next level, the next video exposes the psychological traps powerful people use to control your decisions without you noticing. You'll never see manipulation the same way again.